following show is controversial and contains content you may find offensive. Listener discretion is advised.
98FM's Dublin Talks. Dublin Talks with Adrian Kennedy.
We're back again. Good morning. It is Tuesday, May 28, 2019. How are you this morning? I'm Adrian Kennedy, and between now and midday today, this is 98FM's Dublin Talks, the mid-morning talk and phone-in show for Dublin, by Dublin, and about Dublin. If you want to get in contact with us at any stage during the programme today, you can text or WhatsApp 0877 98 98 98. 0877 98 98 98. Better still, call us on 6797 981. Coming up in just the first hour of today's show, a petition has been set up online calling for the resignation of Dún Laoghaire Rathdown TD Maria Bailey. Now, Maria, as you will know, has been embroiled in the Swinggate controversy over her fall from a swing and her injuries and all of that. Now, she has dropped the case, probably due to a lot of pressure. Anyway, is it time for people to move on, or do you support them looking for her head on a plate? We'll talk about that in just a while. I'll be talking to a young man, kind of a shocking story, actually, who feared basically his OCD, his obsessive compulsive disorder, would kill him. And we're going to be hearing his story. He's just 18 years of age, and well, wait to hear his story. That's coming up a little bit later on. And a couple of people have texted in already, but you remember that shop or that nightclub or that restaurant that you absolutely loved, and then it shut down? Our Jeremy is devastated as the news broke this week of his favourite chipper, which has closed, and he's devastated. Cafe Kyra in Howth closed down over the weekend. It was one of the most famous chippers in Howth, but our Jeremy is devastated over its demise. We'll be talking about that later on, and we've lots more to get through. We're going to be talking about vegan kids and how are we going to fit it all in. We'll do our very best. Between now and midday today, this is 98FM's Dublin Talks. Now, as I mentioned to you, an online petition has sprung up either late last night or early this morning, demanding that Fine Gael TD Maria Bailey resign. Here's what the petition actually says. We request the immediate resignation of Maria Bailey, Fine Gael TD for Dún Laoghaire Rathdown. In light of the personal injury case brought by Ms. Bailey, which is now being dropped, it is clear that she does not have the sufficient capacity to adequately represent her constituents. Alleging that she injured herself after falling from the swing and that no instructions in how to use the swing had been provided, Ms. Bailey contended that the Dean Hotel was liable for her injuries, which supposedly led to a back injury, which has caused her significant medical costs, and meant she could not run at all for 3 months post-accident and has had to reduce her activities significantly. This is all part of this petition. And I want to run a Dublin Talks text poll just to kick off the show today. And I want you to text the word yes or no to 0877 98 98 98. Now, for the purposes of this, just by text message, please, because we can only collate opinion polls through text message, so no WhatsApp, but just text message for the poll. And the question that we're asking is, should Maria Bailey resign as a TD for Dún Laoghaire Rathdown? That's the question. All I want you to do is text the word yes or no to 0877 98 98 98. 0877 98 98 98. The question is very simple. Should Maria Bailey resign her Dún Laoghaire Rathdown Dáil seat? Text yes or no by text message only, please, to 0877 98 98 98. Now, We got an email. Yesterday, you may have heard us touching on this, and we were talking about insurance claims, not specifically about Maria Bailey, but we heard one story of one lady who got 100 grand and she was basically blaming her solicitor for him telling her to invent that she had tinnitus and everything else. And there was a huge reaction to that yesterday. But we want to talk about whether or not this TD should be forced to resign. And, not forced, should she just resign? We got a message in this morning from a lady called Patricia, who's a little bit annoyed. And here's what she wrote in her long email. I'm finding it really challenging to contain my agitation around the Maria Bailey performance. Yesterday, you made a valiant attempt to call out an insurance fraudster. This is the lady who was on the show yesterday. She seemed so proud of herself for achieving such a successful payout for doing nothing other than colluding with another fraudster, namely a solicitor in this case. Whilst in all honesty, none of us is surprised by the entire farce, it was the frustration and, to be honest, abject sadness of the lack of personal accountability by us as individuals that caught my attention. As we're now fully entertained by a publicly voted for representative who tried to do the same thing, I'm astounded at the questions it raises. How can an adult require supervision to use a swing? How can an adult consider it reasonable to blame someone else when they didn't think that using a swing with no hands would be considered a risk? How can an adult knowingly go public with the wine in one hand and reaching for a bottle with the other without questioning their own judgment? How can it be that she isn't hanging her head at her own lack of judgment and shame? She is no different to your guest yesterday. Unfortunately for Ms. Bailey, though, the only payout she may receive is public ridicule. You got that off your chest, Patricia?
Yeah, it sounds pretty strong coming back at me that way. But I did feel an awful lot better having put it down in paper, I must say.
Okay, well, thank you for sending to us. We had a little smile when we read your email earlier on. Patricia, why are you so annoyed about this?
Gosh. Well, it's just such a testimony to the direction that we're heading as individuals, that this is considered almost normal behaviour to be able to get away with conning people. And it's only when you get called out that there's any kind of accountability. But even then, you tried to call the lady out yesterday and there was absolutely no shame whatsoever.
And this is the lady, for those who didn't hear yesterday's programme, we had a woman on the show who spoke about she had a genuine car accident. She did end up in hospital and so on. But the upshot of it was, with the help of a solicitor, she developed tinnitus, which is ringing in your ears, something she didn't even know existed before her solicitor suggested it. Anyway, she came out with 100 grand for a car accident in which she wasn't seriously injured. And your point is that this has to stop.
Well, it should never really have started. But it's just this lack of accountability that we're creating. People are making jokes about the kind of, I don't know, powder puff or snowflake people but we're doing the same thing. We're blaming kids and that as being not responsible. But if this has become the norm, at what point do we actually just put our hands up and go, yeah, I made a mistake. I caused an accident to myself and I shouldn't look around and try to find somebody else to blame. I would be mortified if it got out, even to my friends, that I fell off a swing because I didn't reckon holding on by at least one hand, God forbid two, which I learned naturally as a child. It didn't have to be taught to me. But this lack of accountability and willingness to try to look around to blame somebody else, it's just a farce. It's farcical.
Okay, but she did say that she did say in the interview that she did yesterday that her case was legitimate. She took clear legal advice on it. She says she's not a legal expert, but she followed the legal advice that she got.
Okay, and what happened between me being an idiot and falling off a swing and getting to the point of even considering talking to a legal advisor? What's the gap?
Well, she claims it was to refund her medical expenses, even though she had private health insurance, but to refund her medical expenses, basically. And surely if you are injured on a premises, you're entitled to claim back your legal expenses, are you not?
I know where you're going with this, and I don't disagree that if somebody is blatantly, incapacitated because of a circumstance that's not through to anything that they've done wrong, no handrail on a steep, slippery steps and no warning, and I'm maybe not the smartest of people, so therefore I decide that I'm going to go running down the steps and I fall. Okay, there's a little bit of self-accountability in that, but if the expenses are quite high and the company is willing to help me, then maybe I don't know, maybe that's an example of it. But your point is that I assume it's the mere fact, and I know people have really been ridiculing over the last couple of days on social media and everything else, with videos up demonstrating how to use a swing. That's the farcical part of this, is it? It's an example of, Ms. Bailey has put herself out there by doing this, and so because she's got, some sort of public interest, then it becomes an exemplar of how not to follow through on these processes. But for every one of her, there's probably another 50 of the women that you had on yesterday on the radio who are just, right, what can I do in order to... I have been in situations myself where it's been suggested to me by quote unquote well-meaning people, you could get something out of this.
Yes.
But for me to be accountable as a human being that believes that I'm also responsible for my own actions, I don't want somebody else telling me that therefore by me being a twit, I can benefit. I mean, I'm as fucking blonde as it is.
Okay, so basically, she should be more mortified about falling off a swing, and then she added insult to injury by taking a case like this.
I think that's kind of it in a nutshell. She fell off a swing. She wasn't acting maybe the smartest and made a mistake and hurt herself. And I don't know what cost $6 or $7 grand. And I'm sorry that much damage was done to her. But, there's also the backup that she also managed to run in a 10K and, within 10 days of this supposed catastrophic event. It's just, we can all create lovely stories to support our position, and that's, I guess, what we do in life. But just from an individual perspective, rather than looking outside at who else I can gain from, what is it that I'm bringing to the table, and why am I trying to do this? Like, what's the benefit?
Okay, so as far as you're concerned, this particular case, which just happens to have been now it's been dropped now, but just so happens to have been taken by a public representative, is symptomatic of how ridiculous the compensation culture has become, that anybody, let alone a TD, would put in an insurance claim for slipping off a swing that a 3-year-old could use.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm reminded of many, many, many years ago going to America from a normal Ireland and purchasing a hairdryer that had a big sticker on it that you couldn't take off that says, "Do not use in the bathtub." And laughing at, God, what kind of a moronic society would need that? And being told, yeah, but if you don't put these signs on, then you can be sued. Now, that was going into a suing society. I would say now we are the same. So we're all right. Well,
do me a favour, Patricia. Stay on the line there for 1 second. 6797 981 is our telephone number. You can text or WhatsApp 0877 98 98 98. And keep your votes coming in. We're asking you a simple question. Should Dunleary Rathdown TD Maria Bailey resign? Text yes or no by text message only, please. Text yes or no to 0877 98 98 98. Okay, text yes or no to 0877 98 98 98. And the question is, should Maria Bailey resign her seat? Colin, you're on 98 FM. How are you, Colin?
How are you, Adrian?
You're not at all happy.
No, I'm not, no.
Go on.
Well, a friend of mine, it just goes to show that these sort of people are insurance fraudsters. A good friend of mine hurt his back 7 years ago.
Sorry, Colin, to cut across you. Maria Bailey would argue vehemently, and she has, that she's certainly not an insurance fraudster. All she was looking for was her medical bills paid for. So just to clarify that.
But Jeremy, she's there, and she was there about a couple of days later or a week later, and she was in a festival, and then she went and did a 10k run after that. If I put my back out before and I've had me hurt, my back has been hurt for near 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks. And for her to be going to festivals like that, obviously she's going to have a bit of a dance, whatever artist she was watching at the time, and you can't be like that going around. It's like, I know either she was hooked up on painkillers at the time, or whatever she was doing, but you can't be. It's wrong. It's absolutely wrong what she did.
And is it a resigning matter?
Well, it's
she has dropped the case.
Well, she's dropped the case. Fair play to her. She dropped the case because through social media she got caught out being at this festival and doing this 10k run.
But do you see it as a resigning matter? Do you think it's something that a TD should step down over?
Yes, I do.
Basically,
honestly,
pack in her job.
Pack in the job.
It's that serious?
That's serious, yeah.
I mean, we were talking about maybe 6 or 7 grand is what she was looking for.
But that's 6 or 7 grand. If I put my back out and go looking for 6 or 7 grand, and a couple of days later I'm there lifting blocks or doing some heavy work or anything like that, and then I get caught out.
All right, okay, so she should definitely resign.
Definitely, 100%.
All right, stay there for 1 second. 6797 981 is our number. You can text or WhatsApp 0877 98 98 98. You can also send a WhatsApp voice message to that same number.
But Adrian, didn't that lady yesterday that was on seek legal advice? Just because you seek legal advice doesn't mean it's... and you get legal advice does not necessarily mean that it's the right advice.
Okay, that's a fair point. And here's another WhatsApp voice message.
Oh my God, stuff like this just boils my blood. Using a swing, you do actually, as that lady just said there, you do actually learn from an early age to hold on. And to be honest, if she wasn't holding on and she fell off, she is immorally wrong to put a claim in because it was through our own actions of stupidity. Like, I can't walk into the Blanchardstown Centre and bang my head off a wall, stand there, physically bang it off the wall and then claim, well, you owe me money because there was no sign there saying that, I'd injure my head if I bang it off a wall. It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. She shouldn't be in any constituency at all. Like, she's working for the people and she's meant to be a moral person in the title that she has.
All right, I'd love to hear from you. 6797 981 is our telephone number. And I'm looking at our poll. Keep your votes coming in. And the question we're asking is, should Maria Bailey resign her Dáil seat? Simply text the word yes or no to 0877 98 98 98. And is there anybody who supports this TD? If you do, call me now on 6797 981.
98 FM's
Dublin Talks with Des Kelly Interiors. For all the latest trends in carpets, vinyls and wood flooring. Des Kelly Interiors, where quality flooring costs less.
98 FM.
Now let's have a look at this Dublin Talks opinion poll, where we've been asking you, should Fine Gael TD for Dunleary Rathdown Maria Bailey resign her Dáil seat over Swinggate? 88% of you in our poll, and it was a very high volume poll as well, 88% of you have said yes, she should resign. Wow. 12% of you have said no, but 88% of you believe that Maria Bailey should resign her Dáil seat. That's fairly significant. 88% saying yes, 12% saying no. Let's have a listen to this WhatsApp voice message.
Adrian, you can't defend her. You're doing your best to defend her there. You can't defend her. She's put in a fraudulent claim. She says that she's claiming for medical expenses when she had private insurance. How could she be claiming for medical expenses? That'd be going into her pocket, not back into the people who she's getting the medical...
Oh, sorry, that just stopped. Oh, okay. Let me go to line. What line am I going to? Going to line 2, and that's Trevor in Amiens Street. Trevor, you're on 98 FM. How are you, Trevor?
How are we doing, Adrian? I'm just thinking back to those adverts that used to be on the television years ago. Do you remember This Is Dave? Dave has made a fraudulent claim.
Yes.
It's not you that pays. It's not Dave that pays for his. That's exactly what she's done. I'd say she was more than likely out with a group of friends there, and she thought with her status within the Fine Gael party, she fell off, made herself look like a fool, so she tried to blame it on the pub, not on herself, to try and save face. And now it's all
and look, there's no denying that it would be embarrassing to fall off a swing like that. That would be fairly humiliating. But she was injured. That's a fact, Trevor.
But as I say, like if you were driving up the quays on a motorbike and you had your mobile phone in one hand and a can of Red Bull in the other hand, the police would pull you over, take you off the bike, drag you down to Star Street, and kind of go, you weren't.
You were behaving irresponsibly. Yes.
You weren't using proper due care when you were riding that motorbike. She got in the swing. She had items in both her hands. She fell off.
Well,
that's entirely her own fault.
Okay, that hasn't really been proven, but I know. In fact, this came out in the news this morning. The hotel in question was going to use CCTV footage as part of their defence, and obviously, I don't know what that CCTV footage would have shown, and we may never see it. But they were going to use CCTV in their defence.
That goes to show how confident they were of how she behaved, in my opinion.
Perhaps. But anyway, is this a resigning matter? Is this something a TD should lose her 94 grand a year over?
Yes, definitely, because if the government can spend millions on these ads on television warning people not to...
Well, that would have been the Insurance Federation doing that.
Yeah. You know what I mean? If it's a chargeable offence, she should be charged by them, and if she has a criminal record, as we've seen with other politicians in the past, if depending on the criminal record, they shouldn't be allowed run. She should resign. She's after putting in. She would be putting in a fraudulent claim there. If the Insurance Federation took a case against her,
but hang on,
she shouldn't be allowed run as a politician.
But hang on, it wasn't a fraudulent claim. She was injured. Now, I mean, injured. People will argue that she's a bit of a cheat to put in a claim for falling off a swing that a 3-year-old could use. But the fact is, she was injured.
Yeah, but as I say, we can all be injured. Like, if I went out tonight and had 8 pints and tripped over a curb and cracked my skull open and was brought to Blanchardstown Hospital, I'm not going to claim off Dublin City Council for cracking my skull. I was half pissed, sorry for the language.
No, but
I was drunk. It was my own stupid fault. You know what I mean? She wasn't holding onto the swing, so you know what I mean. She has to take a certain amount of responsibility for that herself as well.
All right, stay there for 1 second. Wow, very little support. Maria, if you're listening, I hate to tell you, 88% believe you should resign your Dáil seat. Katrina is in Tala. You're on 98 FM. How are you, Katrina?
Yeah, how you doing, Adrian?
Now, what did you want to say?
Well, I just think, it shouldn't be up to anyone to say to her, that you should resign. I think she should take it upon herself, knowing that the state of this country in claims. I mean, I personally, my son broke his leg. I've had 2 women crash their car into me, small damages. I never thought of claiming because, for the simple reason, small businesses are going out of business in this country. People are messing on playgrounds, for example. Their kids fall and they're not taking personal responsibility. They're just running to blame someone straight to a solicitor, 20, 30 grand, all while insurances are going through the roof. And I mean, she's supposed to set an example, is she not? Like, honestly, I don't really care if she resigns or not. It's not going to affect my life. But we're supposed to be setting an example for anyone else. And when I see people saying, I'm going to claim this happened, I remind them of my son breaking his leg, of people crashing into my car, which were only bangers, my son falling. If they're only small things, now it's different if you're in a wheelchair, you're going to have lifelong arthritis. That's a different situation. But this claims in this country for tissue damage, it's so sickening, Adrian. Tissue damage is all we bloody hear about. Tissue damage in the arm, tissue on the leg. People are getting 20 grand for a bruise. It's shocking, and she should be making an example, saying, look, I fell off a swing, I did the wrong thing, and I sued, and I take back that, you know what I mean?
But she has done. She has dropped the case. She has said, I'm not proceeding with this case. But,
well, then leave it
what more do people want?
Well, then leave it at that. Let her go about her job. It's not going to affect anyone's life. Leave it at that. She's taking responsibility, and I'm sure, Adrian, she's learned a really big lesson. You know what I mean? There's no point in keeping torturing the woman. There's just no point.
Well, Trevor, we should just let this go now. I was going to say she said sorry, but she hasn't. She's just withdrawn the case.
Well, if she said sorry, and look, I made a
she
mistake.
didn't. She hasn't said sorry. She hasn't said sorry.
What? Why don't you all look around and see people, that we know that are making claims for false behaviour and say, look, why are you claiming? We need to stop this. I mean, I'm paying €3,000 car insurance because of ridiculous claims going through the roof. And I've never had a claim in my life, and I'm 20 years on the road. Something has to give in here, Adrian, about these stupid claims, you know what I mean?
All right, stay there for 1 second. But you still think we should just move on and leave her at it?
Why are people focusing? All right, she's gotten tortured the past few days. You know what I mean? Is it going to affect anybody's sleep if she goes back to work or not? If her constituents want her out, then let them make a petition or whatever. Let them do it. Let Leo come up and say, look, we won't have someone doing this. But the way people are going on social media, I swear they've nothing to do with their lives. Hounding people like I don't know what.
All right, stay there for a second. 6797981 is our number. Let's have a listen to another WhatsApp voice message.
Adrian, so does it mean that if I took my daughter to the park and I put her on a swing and she doesn't hold on, she's 3 right now, and she doesn't hold on and she fell, does that mean I can sue the city for that?
Well, some people would argue yes. And some people would put in a claim for a child falling off a swing. Billy, you're on 98FM. How are you, Billy?
Hi, Adrian. I agreed with most of what that last lady said. But I just want to point something out. But she resigns it now. It won't make any difference to me either. I just want to point something out as well. If she resigns, Adrian, she'll be paid her full salary anyway for this year anyway, probably the next year. All you have to do is 2 years as a TD, right? And you get your life entitlement for pensions for the rest of your life. And if you're a minister for 2 years, you're the same. This present government has been in power more than 2 years now, I think. They're 2.5 years in power, I think. So she's going to get all her pension entitlements anyway. And resigning is not... There's a lot of people that have done really bad in this country, the likes of Maurice McCabe, who, and the likes of...
I know what, you don't think this is a resigning matter, do you not?
No, but sure, the point... No, it is a resigning matter, but what's the point of resigning? The point I'm trying to make is Maurice McCabe resigned, right? So did Noreen O'Sullivan, right? And they done really, really bad things, but they're getting their pensions for the rest of their life. And she should be resigning, yeah, but she shouldn't be getting her pension. It should be withdrawn. People do wrong. In her case, it's not as bad as Maurice McCabe or Noreen O'Sullivan.
A lot of people will argue, but not many, I'll be honest, not many ringing in to argue this point. But, some will argue that, look, this woman, whether we like it or not, she was injured. She did hurt herself. And she claims that all she was looking for is her medical expenses to be paid.
But the point I'm making is if she resigns, so what? She'll get her salary paid for the full this year, possibly next year as well, and she will get her pension. If you done something wrong in 98FM and you had to resign, you wouldn't get your wages paid for the year, would you?
Most likely not, no.
Exactly. That's the point I'm trying to make. Maurice McCabe hung out your man to dry, the fella, the whistleblower. Yeah, and he gets his pension, and so does Noreen and so does X, Y, and Z. I could go on here on the radio all day. And resigning, well, you resign, you have more time off at home, but you still get all your money. There's no, so whether she resigns or not, like that lady says, I don't give a toss, it won't affect me. But I'd still have to pay for her, because she's still going to get her salary, isn't she?
Okay, fair enough. Bill is in Navan in County Meath. Bill, you're on 98FM. How are you, Bill?
How are you doing?
Bill, you don't believe this is a resigning matter?
No, people nothing better to be doing. Seriously. I mean, Jesus Christ. She fell, all she wants is a few quid for her medical expenses. And, fair, if she gets it, well and good. She doesn't.
Well, she's not going to now because she's dropped the case.
Yeah, well, that's fair enough. But, I mean, at the end of the day, who here, listen now, if they didn't fall and could get the chance of getting a few bob, wouldn't take it. Now, let's be fair. Let's be straight here now. If anyone's coming on here being honest, with 10 people in line, and many say, yeah, I'd go after that. And then you say,
well, actually, Trevor, let me put that to you, that all of us, given half a chance, if we have an opportunity to get a few bob for a claim, we will take it.
Of course. 100%.
If it's legitimate.
But this was legitimate.
Yeah.
This woman injured herself.
No, but if it was me on that swing, I'd be saying to myself, should I or should I not? Because if there's CCTV and I look like a gobshite, I'm going to be wasting my time here.
Would you know?
Sorry, Billy, can I just go back to you were talking about Maurice McCabe. Maurice McCabe did nothing wrong, by the way.
He didn't. Fair play to the man. Absolutely.
Oh, sorry. Not Maurice McCabe. Sorry, Maurice McCabe was the one that was done wrong.
Yes,
Sorry.
yes.
Sorry,
I just got confused.
Martin Callanan.
Yes. So you were just confused. Okay, I just want to clarify that.
Yeah, sorry. Martin Callahan resigned.
Yes.
He hung out Maurice McCabe to dry.
Correct. Okay, just got the names mixed up.
Sorry.
All right, good man. Thanks very much, and I'm happy to clarify that. Sorry, Bill. You think people, given the opportunity, will happily take a few bob if they can get it?
Of course they would. Absolutely, 100%. I mean, look, what people fail to realise is that now I don't know the woman. I don't know which party she's with or anything like that. But I'm sure she's done a lot of good as well as this one mistake. And we've all made mistakes. Every single one of us has made mistakes. And she paid money out of her own pocket for medical expenses. But for whatever happened to her, she's every right to get a few quid back if she's entitled to it.
Okay, and you believe?
I really do. I really think she's entitled to get that money back. Because I tell you, it was me. I'd want my money back. And in all fairness, Adrian, how would you?
Although I think I'd be, as the well-worn Dublin expression goes, I think I'd be scarred up for myself to put in a claim for falling off a swing that a 3-year-old could use.
I do believe that she didn't realise it'll go the way it's gone. In fairness, the way she's been absolutely ridiculed about it. And I'm sure there's a lot of people at Rathdown's and Leary area that will say, look, she's done great work out here, she's done this, that and the other. But to resign from her job for that? No. Unless she was sacked, which if she's sacked, she could take it. She probably didn't claim against her for his dismissal.
I don't think she can be sacked. But
no, I don't think so, and I don't think she should resign either. Just look, you know, anyway, this time next week, it'll all be forgotten about. There'll be something else we talk about. It'll all be forgotten about.
All right, and finally, Tom, you think she should resign? She should have known better.
Of course, she should have known better, and even though she wasn't injured either, because she ran a 10K thing two or 3 days later.
No, 2 or 3. No, Tom. 3 weeks later. 3 weeks later.
It doesn't matter. If you were injured, 3 weeks wouldn't cure you. And apart from that, she was on a swing and she had a rope to hang on to. Now, you look at it this way. If you went to sit down on a seat and a fella pulled the chair from under you, that's a bigger shock, right? And you'd land up on your back. That you wouldn't get hurted. Not at her age. Not at her age and not at my age either. And it often happened to me and I'm nearly 60. Do you know what I mean? Like,
okay, so
there's
she
no
should
way that woman. No, she shouldn't even get wages. She should be deleted from the government completely.
All right, thank you very much indeed, Tom. Let's have a listen to this WhatsApp voice message.
This is the definition of being caught rapping. It's actually laughable, you know. Unfortunately, once it goes on social media, then you're ours. And she was caught. If she has any morals at all, she'll resign and she'll apologise for what happened. But as I say, the old Dublin saying, caught rapping.
Fair enough. And one last WhatsApp message.
2 words, lads. Due process. Are we not all expected to get due process in this country?
Okay, no, that's a fair point. And finally, I completely disagree with that caller, says this message. A man crashed into me and my back was a bit sore the following day. I could easily have put in a claim, but I didn't because I knew it wasn't anything serious. I just wanted my car fixed. The most outrageous thing is his insurance company argued over the hire car I was going to get for the period my car was not available. They wanted to give me the smallest and cheapest possible. The point being that I could have screwed them if I wanted to, but I didn't because I wasn't genuinely hurt. All right. Thank you very much indeed for all of your calls, comments, texts and opinions. This is 98FM's Dublin Talks. Now, after the break, Jeremy is in mourning over something. He's upset. Find out what that is next.
98FM's
Dublin Talks with Des Kelly Interiors. For all the latest trends in carpets, vinyls and wood flooring. Des Kelly Interiors, where quality flooring costs less.
98FM.
And this is Adrian, and that man there is Jeremy, and you're a little bit upset.
Hasn't been a good week. I know it's only Tuesday.
What are you upset about?
It's just I'm in mourning.
Oh.
Not M-O-R-N-I-N-G, M-O-U-R. I'm in mourning.
Over?
Over the death of something.
Oh, I'm terribly sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
The death of?
It's a bit too raw that I don't think I can talk about it at the moment. Have you ever had a pub or a nightclub or a cafe or a restaurant that you were a regular in? It was part of your life. You went to it every day or once a week or once a month, and then one day you woke up and discovered that it's no longer with us. It's gone. Well, the Dixons at the moment are...
Sorry, you're not actually talking about a dead person, are you?
No, we're not talking about a dead person.
Okay. Can I get rid of that really dramatic music then?
Well, no. It is dramatic. Earlier on this week, I was given the bad news that... Okay, you can probably get rid of the music now. Yeah. Earlier on this week, ladies and gentlemen, I was given very, very bad news that one of my favourite cafes of all time has decided to hang up its frying pans. And this cafe, stroke chipper, is an institution. Many of you will have been to it. I'm talking about Cafe Kyra, which is in Howth. Mm-hmm. And it's a place that we go to every 2 weeks. The second Sunday of every month, we go out to Howth. It's a little, we all have your routines. And we'd get on the train and we'd go out to Howth and we'd go into Cafe Kyra just on the pier there. Have you ever been in it?
I have.
I was in there with you, actually, a couple of years ago.
That's correct.
And I would order fish and chips and bread and butter and the whole lot. And I heard the bad news, I think it was yesterday, I heard that after 30 years of being in service, Cafe Kyra...
A shut-up shop
is closing down. Yeah. And I have to say, I didn't. I know you're taking a big...
Is there no other chipper in Howth?
That'd be like saying if my dog died, is there no other dogs you can get? You wouldn't say that to someone whose dog died, would you?
Maybe not.
Supposing your dog Sparky was run down by a car later on, yeah?
Yeah.
And you rang me and you said, I'm very upset about this. I wouldn't say she can get another dog.
No, probably not.
No, you wouldn't.
Right.
The point is, Cafe Kyra to me was part of my life. It was part of my life. I went to it every 2 weeks, and now it is gone. It's like your favourite pub burning down, Adrian. How will I ever move on with it? Anyway, we were talking about this earlier on today in the office, and we were discussing all the different things that have closed down that you have been upset about. Now, we're talking about restaurants, cafes, pubs, nightclubs. Do you remember it was like a nationwide day of mourning when Barcode decided to close its doors?
Yeah, there really was, actually.
Now, for those of you who don't know, Barcode was a very famous nightclub in Fairview, and it was around in the early noughties. Was it the early noughties?
It was, yeah.
And when it finally closed down, I remember there were petitions set up on Facebook. There were all sorts of things. So people, what I'm saying, Adrian, is people do get affected by businesses that they become used to closing down.
Right, so we would like to hear from you about the company or the pub or the restaurant or whatever that closed down that you were devastated over. Text or WhatsApp 0877 98 98 98. 0877 98 98 98. What premises were you devastated over when it finally packed it in?
Now, can I give you one from my wife? Because she said you better mention this. My wife was absolutely devastated when Roach's Stores closed down forever. Roach's Stores was her life.
Really?
She loved Roach's Stores. It was a great old shop back in the day.
Yeah, but it's Debenhams now. Is it not just as good?
If you Sparky died and I got you another dog, would it be just as good? You can't just say that. When something dies that you love, you can't replace it.
It was taken over by Debenhams.
It's completely different.
What was Roach's Stores is now Debenhams.
No. You say that to my wife and she'll slap you across the head. How dare you? No. When Roach's Stores closed down about 10 years ago, I remember my wife, she was wearing black for about a week, Adrian. She was.
Okay, not to be a bit...
dramatic about it. No, I'm not being dramatic about it. So people can become attached to it. Maybe you have a coffee shop that you used to go every morning and then one day you woke up and realised it was gone. Maybe your local pub closed down and it absolutely hit you like a ton of bricks.
Okay, so it doesn't have to be a bar or a club. It can be anything. A business that closed down and you were left devastated as a result. Well, devastated might be a bit dramatic, but and wearing black is a bit dramatic as well. Anyway, text or WhatsApp.
She just happens to like black.
Oh, right, okay.
She wasn't going around with a veil over her face now, but it was...
Okay, so what company closure left you devastated? Text or WhatsApp 0877 98 98 98. 0877 98 98 98. What company closure left you devastated? I'd love to hear from you on 6797 981. Text or WhatsApp 0877 98 98 98. As I said, it doesn't have to be pubs or clubs. It can be just any business. So let us know. 6797 981. Let's have a listen to this WhatsApp voice message.
Howdy lads. The first place I was devastated about when it closed down was Tripod, one of the best nightclubs in Ireland, I have to say. And the second place that isn't closed yet but is closing is the Lord Mayor's out in Swords. Devastated.
There you go.
Was that closing down?
Yeah, apparently
That's
so.
a very famous pub
It
in what part of Swords is it?
It's just on the main street.
In the main street.
Yeah.
Is that closing down?
Apparently so, yeah.
Oh.
Peter, you're on 98 FM. How are you, Peter?
Morning, Adrian. Good morning, Jeremy. How are you getting on?
Hey, Peter.
Now, Peter.
Right. I've got a few, lads. I'm still heartbroken over it. My first one would have been a good few years ago when, you remember the little shop in Dundrum Village, Max in Dundrum. It used to be a little toy shop, newsagents.
Right. Do you remember this, Jeremy?
Yeah.
You're from that neck of the woods.
I am. What was it called?
It was called Max of Dundrum. It was actually where do you know where the chipper used to be, Burdocks? You know Burdocks in Dundrum, Leo Burdocks?
Yes, just opposite the Eagle House.
There was a little news agent in there, probably about back in the 90s, early 90s, late 80s. There was a shop called Max of Dundrum. And my old man used to bring me down there all the time to pick up, little like gimmicky toys and stuff. And it was great. It was a great little shop. That was one. But recently, I've got to say, devastated when Club 92 shut down.
Oh, yeah.
That's what people wear.
Our Georgie, who does the news here...
she was inconsolable.
She was. She literally was crying one day because it was her life.
See, the sad part...
That's it. It was part of growing up. And obviously, you guys know I'm from Leopardstown, so it was part of growing up in the area, you know what I mean? And,
but you'd obviously stopped going, Peter, had you?
I had. Well, it stopped going up until the last time I would have been when before our daughter was born. Let's say 10 years ago. We would have went up then, maybe once or twice afterwards with a group of friends that would have went there as well. But it only started sort of kicking back in because you had these people from our age group, like I'm 37, where they were going back to it. And it was actually
unfortunately not in sufficient numbers to keep the place open.
Yeah, and I think that's what half of the problem is, you know what I mean, is that, it was not enough people going to it. There was one more place as well, lads. I know I'm going on a bit, but I did frequent this spot as well. Bondi and Stillorgan.
Well, hang on, some people, Peter, deal with grief in different ways. And if you're... Sorry, what are you laughing at, Adrian? If you're grieving, we allow you to grieve. Yeah.
Thanks a million. Bondi nightclub in Stillorgan closed down, and then they knocked it all down in the past couple of weeks. Jeremy, you probably noticed this yourself in Stillorgan Village.
I saw
they
that,
actually tore the whole place down. King's Restaurant, the whole lot. I know it's very fond memories. One of my first dates with my wife, I went there, we went for dinner and things, and yeah, it was amazing. It's amazing times, and very, very, very hard to get over. I'm actually got in tears here.
Well, lads, I heard of another place that I can't confirm just yet, but I heard that the Leisureplex in Stillorgan, which was the childhood memories for most people on the south side, I heard the Stillorgan Bowl is closing down.
It's sold. I think the land is sold.
Oh, jeez, I can't deal. I can't deal with all this grief.
I heard that myself. Yeah, I only heard that recently, that apparently the land is sold. And
so there's going to be no bowling alley in Stillorgan anymore?
No, there's going to be probably a set of 2 blocks of apartments, matching the ones across the road.
So where will they go bowling?
Well, there's lots of other bowling alleys, Adrian.
Why, where else is there a bowling alley?
Oh, I don't know, actually. Now, there was many a lass I courted in the Stillorgan Bowl back in the day. That used to be my go-to place for dates. I'd used to bring them. You can't beat an old game of bowling, Adrian, on a first date.
No, that's true.
And you're right, Peter. I think when a place has a special memory for you and then it closes down, it's like what?
Okay, here's another few. Total Fitness at Clare Hall. I was absolutely devastated when it closed down. Me and a friend were told coming home from a football match, and we felt like we'd lost a relative.
No, I'm sorry. This is where I have to disagree. I'm sorry.
Total Fitness was deadly.
I'm sorry. I have to draw a line under it here.
Why?
No. You can't grieve the closure of a gym. Every single gym is the same. No.
Total Fitness was particularly good.
It's a gym.
They were huge. They had swimming pools, and the one at Clare Hall was particularly good. My missus used to go there.
But it's not unique. It's not like Cafe Kyra.
They were better.
Cafe Kyra was the only chipper in Dublin where I know where you could ask them for a slice of bread and they'd open a pan of Brennan's bread and give you a slice there and then.
Adrian, you're on 98 FM. How are you, Adrian?
Hi, Adrian. Hi, Jeremy. Good morning.
How are you? What were you devastated over the closure of?
Our local pub, the Cuckoo's Nest on the Green Hills Road in Tallaght.
Closed, gone.
Yeah.
It's gone 3 years now. We were on the holidays and we got word that the bailiffs came in and just closed it down.
What, someone sent you a message on holidays to let you know about it?
Yeah, because you know what? It was more than just a pub. It was like a big family place. And like lots of builders or, tradesmen and that got business from the place when you went in and you said like, you need something done and somebody'd recommend somebody that would do it. And it was just a lovely place.
In fact, after it closed, Jeremy danced on its grave and gave away selection boxes or something one day there, didn't he?
I used to give selection boxes out there for 98 at Christmas time.
No, but it's been a family-run pub since the 1964. The Lynch family, they used to live over the pub before when the family got bigger, then they moved. But it was just a great spot, and it was like, when you'd go into it, like myself and my husband go down on Saturday night and like he'd walk ahead and it'd take me half an hour to get to the table to him because you're talking to people and, and you're probably even talking to your neighbour that you haven't seen all week. And then the music was great as well, and it was just the whole buzz about the place. And they did a little function room that we had kids' christenings and parties in, and, and then another pub down a few months ago got knocked down to the ground, the Bellegarde.
That's right, yeah.
And there's apartment. They had planning permission for a pub to go there, but they're after withdrawing it now, and they're trying to sneak in the back door with apartments, the same way as the builders that bought the Cuckoo's Nest. They had planning permission in. That were going
I don't be speculating about people dodging planning permissions and everything else. But
isn't it gas talking to her about the Cuckoo's Nest, and it's like she's after losing a family member? It's like
keep your messages coming in to 0877 98 98 98. What company closure left you devastated? We're back with a couple more in just a moment.
98.
Live and exclusive to Dublin's 98 FM, Monday through Friday between 10 and midday. This is Adrian Kennedy. You're with 98 FM's Dublin Talks. And Georgie is here with Tuesday's top headlines.
Thanks, Adrian. Good morning. The hotel at the centre of the Maria Bailey Swinggate controversy decided to defend the case after reviewing CCTV footage. Video evidence from the Dean Hotel was set to feature in the case if it had gone to trial, according to the Irish Independent. The Fine Gael TD dropped her case over the weekend after she fell off a swing in 2015 and injured herself. Irish Rail says it's unacceptable that passengers weren't informed that services had been suspended at Houston. Over 20,000 people were delayed after a major signal fault brought trains to a standstill this morning. And James Corden has announced Gavin and Stacey will return for a 1 hour Christmas special. He shared the news on Twitter, writing that he and Ruth Jones have been keeping it a secret for a while. Now you're up to date on 98.
98 FM's Dublin Talks with Adrian Kennedy.
It's Tuesday morning. Good morning. I hope everything is good with you. I'm Adrian Kennedy, and between now and midday today, this is 98 FM's Dublin Talks. In this hour of the programme, I'm going to be hearing from a young man who feared his OCD, his obsessive compulsive disorder, could have actually killed him. And whilst he's not cured of OCD, he thinks he's in a better place now. I'll be talking to this young fella in a while. He's only 18, and it's a shocking story. We're also going to be asking, and I'd like to get your opinions on this a little bit later on, about parents raising their kids as vegan. And according to some experts in the Royal Academy of Medicine in Belgium, to be precise, they've issued an opinion that will make it possible to send parents who raise their kids on a vegan diet to jail, no less, in Belgium. We'll be talking about that a little bit later on. But at this minute, we're in the middle of a conversation all to do with, a company that closed down that left you devastated. This is after the closure over the weekend of Cafe Kyra in Howth, one of the most famous chippers in the area, and everybody loves it, or loved it, and sadly they closed down over the weekend. Maeve, you're on 98 FM. How are you, Maeve?
Hi, how you doing, Adrian?
Good, thanks, Maeve. Well,
I really miss Mosley.
and it's gone such a long time. I know if you actually see the place now and it's being used as an asylum centre, it still looks kind of the same, but it closed back 19 years ago, believe it or not.
I know, but now that I have kids myself, I'd love to have the opportunity to take them to Mosley.
Sorry, so Jeremy just shouted at me here, it was a kib.
Jeremy's a snob.
Now, there are... what's that new place that's opening down Roscommon direction? What's that called?
Centre Park.
Oh, yeah. That looks amazing. Yeah. That actually looks amazing.
It does, but I mean, have you looked at the prices? You know?
No, well, I haven't yet, but...
Yeah.
Okay, so you miss Mosney and you wish you could come back in the little train, and it actually was a kip, really.
I know, but kids love just... That's the thing, like, you know...
But actually, there's a question.
I enjoyed it.
Would kids today like it?
Yeah, I mean, Fun Tropical was brilliant. You know, with all the big mushrooms and the big slides, and like that was a fantastic place for kids to go. Like even if it was actually rain outside, you could bring them indoors and they'd still have good fun. You know.
Yeah, I just wonder would kids today, if you were to literally reopen Mosney as it was back in the 80s or the 90s, would kids enjoy it as much as kids did 20 or 30 years ago? I don't think they would.
I'd say they would. I think they would, definitely. Yeah.
Well, we have Trebalgan still, and that new Centre Park's opening, and certainly from the ads, whatever about the prices, certainly from the ads, it looks amazing.
Yeah, it does, I have to say. It does look amazing, yeah.
All right, thanks, Siobhan. Or Maeve, she misses Mosney. Siobhan, you miss
Hi,
where?
Adrian.
How are you, Siobhan?
How are you?
What were you devastated over?
The Tivoli.
The Tivoli. Why do you miss the Tivoli so much?
Because it was a thing with the kids every year to bring them to
going to the Panto. Now I went to it many years myself in the Tivoli, and the last few years Alan Hughes was involved in the production of the and his husband Carl produced the Panto, but it's gone now.
It's gone. It's like just.
And it is a kind of a void on Francis Street now, isn't it?
Yeah. Because we're local as well.
Oh, you're from the area.
Big loss to the area, yeah.
Yeah, it is a bit of a loss, but sadly, it just wasn't doing the business, and it just didn't survive, basically.
No, we're going to miss it terrible.
So where would you go to Panto this year?
On to better things now. I believe the Panto is going to be in the Royal Hospital, Kilmainham.
Oh, right, very good, yeah. So, and in fact, there's lots of work going on around your area with the new hotel there.
At the moment,
just at Vicar Street. That's near you as well. That looks like it'll be... Well, it can't be a bad thing. I know people were objecting to it, but it can't be a bad thing to have a hotel in the area, can it?
It's good and bad. And bad.
Because I know people have been objecting to it, but I saw it being built a couple of weeks ago. It's not monstrous. It's big enough, but it's not overpowering the place. I think it'll be a good thing to have in the area.
Big enough. It's just it wasn't wanted in the area.
All right. Anyway, the Tivoli gone.
It's gone.
It's very sad.
There's no more.
And just back to Mosney. For those of you who were never in Mosney, you may remember that if you were in the restaurant, there was a big window, a glass window, and that was looking into the swimming pool. And it's one of my childhood memories. But there was... people... Okay, there was nothing like, says this text message, eating a carvery in the restaurant in Mosney while a kid releases a floater that passes the window. And it's true, people used to do mooners in the window as you're eating your lunch in the restaurant. It was a great place, great memories. Anyway, thanks very much indeed for all of your calls. You're listening to 98 FM.
98 FM's Dublin Talks. Text or WhatsApp 0877 98 98 98.
And this is Adrian Kennedy with you until midday today. Obsessive compulsive disorder is a topic we rarely discuss, or when we do, we treat it in a kind of a trivial sort of way, with little things that people are obsessed about. But it can be extremely serious. A teenager who suffers with severe OCD has spoken out about how it nearly killed him. 18-year-old Trevor Lean has been speaking out about his OCD to raise awareness during Mental Health Awareness Month. He said that unless he turned off the lights in his house and a certain amount of times before he went to bed, he would feel that he would die in his sleep. That's how severe his OCD is. And Trevor joins me on the line. Trevor, welcome to 98 FM.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Trevor, when did you first realise that you had obsessive compulsive disorder?
Well, I suppose I had a lot through primary and it went on through secondary, but I wasn't really told about it until maybe March 2018. And I wasn't given a name for what I was doing.
Oh, right. So all this while, you had no idea essentially what was wrong with you?
Yeah. I thought it was just myself who was doing this. I didn't know other people were doing it until I was given the word OCD.
Okay, so tell me about some of the more severe aspects of the OCD that you lived with through your teenage years.
I suppose it got severe in primary because I felt like if I didn't do something a certain way, something bad might happen to myself or someone else.
Like what? So give me an example.
Say I used to have an awful fear of like the end of the world. So I used to think, because it was around that time, it was the 2012 movie, and then I got afraid of that. So then I started doing the rituals and like the OCD stuff. I thought, if I do this, something bad won't happen.
So for example, going to bed, you would have to turn off the lights in a certain way. What way did you have to turn off the lights?
I might have to turn them on and off 3 times. 3 was always my number kind of way.
Right. So everything had to be done in 3s.
Yeah.
So you would switch on and off the light 3 times before you went to bed, but fearing that if you didn't do that, and this is where it kind of takes it to a different level from what many people living with OCD experience, you would fear that if you didn't do that, that you could die in your sleep.
Yeah, or just something bad might happen to myself or someone else, or just anything. I was afraid because it's not really like you're not thinking straight a lot of the time, and you just fear the worst will happen.
And what about, was there stuff that would have been obvious to family and friends?
I suppose, like in primary, I was writing my words a couple of times, so I might write a sentence, and then I might rewrite over the same sentence.
Right.
And then I suppose in secondary school, I wasn't eating, and I just got so afraid of stuff, and I was telling myself, food, if I eat food, something bad might happen. So I was like starving myself, and it went on for a couple of months.
And I know that you eventually, you had all sorts of excuses for not eating food because you were afraid of food. That it got so bad that you actually collapsed one day while you were marshalling at a race.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
So we were just there, and I felt fine. Well, okay-ish, kind of. And I was with my friend and his mother, and we were just passing out water to people passing, doing the marathon. And he went up to the shop, and by the time he came back, I was on the ground lying down with a blanket over me and a thing on my finger checking my blood pressure and everything.
Oh, right. So you collapsed, basically, due to the fact that you were starving yourself.
Yeah.
Now, I know that you're about to sit your leaving cert in a few weeks. Has your OCD affected that and the way in which you study?
Well, I suppose I was fine for maybe a year and a half after second and third year, but then I kind of started getting the thoughts and stuff again, say at the start of 5th year. So I had a good couple of months studying.
So what sorts of thoughts? Like what's going through your mind?
So like if I say at the time, it was like if I was doing rowing or animation or anything I enjoyed like that, something bad might happen to someone. And then so I stopped doing them, and then that really lost my motivation to do anything. So it really affected my study. So that was like a couple of months into 5th year, and it went on throughout all of 5th year.
Now, it does sound very severe. A lot of people live with, different compulsions and whatever. With you, it seems to take even the expression or the term OCD to a new level.
Yeah.
And how are you now? You said that, even with your exams coming up shortly, there are still issues. But you have been speaking publicly about this. Why?
I suppose just because of Mental Health Awareness Month, I just said I'll talk a bit about it just to let people know that they're not the only ones. Because, if I'd known in primary or the start of secondary if I wasn't the only one, or if there was an actual thing happening to people like this, I would have been a lot better. I would have been treated sooner and everything.
Okay, so that's why you've decided to speak out publicly. Does it bother you at all, Trevor? Because it is an expression that kind of gets thrown around very casually. Look at him and his little OCD quirks and whatever. Do you think we do treat it too trivially when it can actually be quite severe in cases like yours?
Yeah, I suppose it's very misunderstood as well, because whenever people talk about it, they always think of everyone who has it wants everything to be spotless clean.
Yes.
But that's only a factor from what it actually is. So it's their intrusive thoughts that are saying, oh, if I don't clean this a certain amount of times, someone might die. But it's the same if you say, oh, if I don't turn on and off the light switch a certain amount of times, someone will die, or something like that, for an example.
Okay, so let me talk about today, for example. What sorts of issues will your OCD affect in what ways will it affect your life today?
So I've actually recovered a good bit now within the last couple of months, so I've kind of reduced the OCD stuff, but if I was doing it today, I might, I'm not sure, I'm not really taking much notice of it anymore.
Oh, right. Well, that's good, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you're dealing with it, and it's not having as dramatic an effect on your life as it was?
No. Yeah,
But at the height of it, it was extremely debilitating.
Yeah.
And are you on medication to help you deal with it?
I am, yeah.
And that's obviously helping, is it?
Yeah. It's working now at the moment, because we had to change it a few times just to see what would work, and yeah, so it's good at the moment now.
That's fantastic. And what is your message then to somebody who lives with, and in fact, if you are somebody who lives with OCD, I'd love to hear from you. You can call us now on 6797 981. I'd love to find out the effect that it actually has on your life. Now, maybe not as severe as Trevor in terms of him believing he might die if he didn't switch off the light switch in a certain way. But I'd love to know the practical day-to-day effects that having the condition OCD has on your life. What is your message, Trevor, to somebody who is living with obsessive-compulsive disorder? As I said, maybe not as severe as yours. Should they seek help for it?
They should, I suppose, just even talk about it. They don't have to go to counselling straight away, but it's better to catch it before it gets out of hand, which most of the time it does. Because, say, I find as well that you don't need to tell your story as if you're a book, but even if you just say enough, as in a leaflet, that and just get the information across. That'll do as well.
And for people who don't take it seriously enough, I know, for example, somebody who lives with, certain OCD. I would say call them more quirks than anything else. But is this something I should be taking a little bit more seriously?
I suppose there are...
somebody who might have to have a table set in a certain way or a chair in a certain way. We shouldn't be trivialising this. Is that really what you're trying to get across?
I suppose sometimes there's a kind of a difference as well. Like, say, they might just like something arranged a certain way, but if they feel like they have to have it that way, that's another story. Like, that's when we should be kind of talking to them if they feel like they have to have it a certain way.
All right, stay there for 1 second if you can, please, Trevor. I'd love to hear from you on this on 6797 981. You can text or WhatsApp the programme on 0877 98 98 98. We're talking about obsessive compulsive disorder, and you've heard Trevor explain how it nearly killed him. Let's have a listen to this WhatsApp voice message.
Hey, Jeremy. I was diagnosed with OCD about 2 years ago. I was hospitalised in psychiatric hospital for 2 years in and out of hospital. I was shown signs at the age of 4 years of age. I was a severely anxious child, and yeah, it's really, really bad. It's not something that he can joke about.
Donna, you're on 98FM. Hiya, Donna.
Hi, Adrian. How you doing? Just wanted to firstly say fair play to Trevor, such a young guy, being so brave to speak out about something that, because it's embarrassing to admit. But I'm of an age now that I really couldn't care less. But yeah, I've suffered from OCD since I was probably about 4 or 5. There was a big, I think I've only found out recently, I think it was a house fire that triggered it for me, that I'm in hotels and I turn off switches. But the one thing I was saying, or just when I texted in, was that it got to the point that I lost my beautiful Nana. It can be so debilitating. I lost my beautiful Nana. She died practically in my arms, and I blame myself because I had to use, when I was blow drying my hair, I had to use the same amount of strokes. So she was 98 at the time, when I was blow drying my hair. And then I was questioning, I know it's irrational, but I was thinking maybe one time I went below or went above. And I'm not like a stupid person, but I was like, maybe that's why she died at 98. Oh yeah,
so when
that.
When your grandmother passed away, you were taking some of the blame.
Oh, completely. I know, and I was saying it to my mum, and she was saying, no, Donnie, idiot, but this is how, OCD can manifest itself in so many different ways. Mine used to be a hygiene thing. I still have a thing about hand sanitizer. I use hand sanitizers all the time, but I wouldn't be that hygienic anymore because I've been in hospitals and stuff that I just had to let that go. But mine is more a numerical thing, so I get very obsessed with numbers. Like what Trevor was saying about his is be 3. I have to do things a certain, it has to be either even or odd numbers for different tasks. But the hair blow dryer, I haven't been able to use a hair dryer since she died. That's how much it can actually affect you. And I know I might sound crazy, but that's why I'm so proud of Trevor coming on as such a young guy.
And he is he's a great young fella, and spoke during Mental Health Awareness Month about this, which is a fantastic thing, Trevor, for a young man like yourself, only 18 years of age, to be speaking out about this, to be, to let people know. Because I know, I remember talking to somebody a couple of years ago who lives with OCD and quite severe, but this particular person thought he was a bit of a weirdo. And I think by talking about it, and we realised that it actually is a thing, it actually is a condition that people live with.
Yeah, it is definitely, and the more people that know, the more we can treat it.
Donna, what are the practical day-to-day problems that you have living with OCD?
I'll actually give you. You just reminded me of something there. I think there's quite a close correlation to addiction. I was in a rehab centre in the UK there just before Christmas, and I met this guy who was even worse than me in terms of OCD. Like, I had to make him. He couldn't even touch a spoon. I had to like make him his coffee and everything. But he was like on the outside, this like proper East London, you know, like honestly you'd think he was some kind of not gangster, that's awful, but like rapper, like he was really like cool kid, gorgeous looking guy as well. But you'd never have thought, unless you got close to him, that he had such a serious problem, you know, in terms of OCD. Day to day, as I said to you, I've overcome the hygiene thing. I'm not saying I'm dirty, but I just, apart from the hand sanitizer, I'm not like a complete clean freak. But I do have, I think the practical thing to do is to try and, it's baby steps, is to mix it up a bit and say, okay, whereas I usually need to use like, say, 4 sheets of toilet paper, today I'll use 3. Or I know that sounds really
but you are dealing with it, and you know, your little idiosyncrasies you're trying to get over. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, you kind of have to try and break break it and realize then that nothing bad is going to happen. Like, I used to have to tap my head 4 times when I thought of something bad about someone in my family, but then I go, okay, if I don't do that. It's kind of like people, you know, they see a magpie and they have to count backwards from 10 or something, and that's like just a superstition thing. That's not OCD.
Okay, but this is a number of different things that have affected you. Have you received? You've heard Trevor. He's received treatment. He is on medication now. Have you?
Oh yeah. Oh my God. I've been. Yeah. Oh, Jesus, I've been in plenty of residential treatment places. I think the key with OCD is to not berate yourself, because most people with OCD know themselves that it's irrational. But if you just try and break it up a little bit, if you just try and like, okay, I usually would have to have like a certain amount of squirts of liquid hand soap or something, I'll just do that, and then know that nothing bad is going to happen. And
you just deal with it one day at a time, basically, and one thing at a time.
Baby steps. Yeah, just try and mix it up, and that's the advice actually I got from psychologists and psychotherapists. Like, just you know, we do realise that we're being completely, you know, that no one is actually going to, like, the sky isn't going to fall down, or if that's the expression, if we don't click the light switch, you know, 28 times on the dot. So one day do it 27 times, and then
realise that it's not going to be the end of the world.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
But it is, and I promise you, I'm actually not a stupid person or a mental person. Well, we're all mental people because we all have minds. It's the one organ we can't, you know, transplant. So we all have complex minds, but just. I mean, it can, as I said, it manifests itself in different ways, but it's honestly, Adrian, it's debilitating at times. It can make you not do stuff that you should do.
Okay, and the point of this conversation, and the reason Trevor has been speaking out about it, is that this it can, as you said yourself, be very debilitating, and something that there is help available for to break that cycle of dealing with the compulsions that you have. And thank you very much indeed, by the way, Donna, for talking to us. There is an organisation, if you're affected by these issues, called OCD Ireland, and their website is ocdireland.org, and they actually provide support groups for sufferers. The groups weeks take place in Dublin. They're free to attend, they're confidential, and they are run by trained and experienced facilitators. If you want to find out more, check out the website ocdireland.org, and you'll find out all the information about the support groups that OCD Ireland offers. And Trevor, I'm going to leave the final word to you. You've got your Leaving Cert coming up very soon. How are you feeling about it?
I feel like I'm okay with it because I have a good idea of what I want to do next year, and I have a good support group helping me and everything.
Well, look, I wish you the very best, Trevor, and I'm delighted to hear that you're getting the help that you need and that you're dealing with your OCD issues and coming to terms with them, and hopefully getting better and better as the weeks go on.
Okay, yeah.
Thanks very much indeed, Trevor.
Thanks very much.
And Donna, thank you as well. An interesting conversation. As I said, it's one of those things that when we talk about it, we almost rip the piss out of people who have certain little idiosyncrasies. And if you've got one or two, that's not OCD. It's just something that you have a thing about. But for some people, as you can hear, it can practically ruin their lives. It can take over their lives, and it becomes worse and worse. So as I said, there is help available. OCDIreland.org is the website if you want to check it out. You're listening to 98FM's Dublin Talks. This is Adrian Kennedy with you until midday today. Now, news just coming into me this very second, which I want to share with you. The IKEA store in Ballymun has been evacuated just after 10 o'clock. A customer told the Dublin Live website that they were told to move away from the building. No comment available at this moment from IKEA. We're working on this right now, and we'll try and bring you more information. A spokesperson said that the store was evacuated as a precaution when a fire alarm was set off. So hopefully nothing any more serious than that. When we get any more information, we will bring it to you. Now, on the way after the break, this is going to raise a debate. The Royal Academy of Medicine in Belgium has issued an opinion that could make it possible to send parents who raise their kids on a vegan diet to jail. We'll be talking about that next.
98FM's Dublin Talks
with Des Kelly Interiors. For all the latest trends in carpets, vinyls and wood flooring. Des Kelly Interiors, where quality flooring costs less.
98FM.
More and more every year, vegan parents are choosing to raise their children as vegan. It's becoming more and more common. Well, this is going to set the cat among the pigeons, because the Royal Academy of Medicine in Belgium has issued an opinion that will make it possible to send parents who raise their kids on a vegan diet to jail. The Academy has said that veganism for kids is unethical because it can lead to health problems for growing children. Now, while raising your child vegan won't be banned in Belgium, the diet will have to be medically supervised and include regular blood tests and vitamin supplements. And if parents don't go along with these requirements, they risk 2 years in prison, fines, and the possibility that their children will be removed from their homes if the kids do have health issues. Wow. And here's the question that I want to ask you. Are you vegan? Are you raising your children vegan? Do you think it is okay to raise your child on a vegan diet? Or is it, as some believe, a form of child neglect? Because you are perhaps not giving your child the diet that they require. I would love to hear from you on this. On 6797 981, you can text or WhatsApp your opinion to us to 0877 98 98 98. 0877 98 98 98. Is it wrong to raise children on a vegan diet? And would you support what they're planning to do in Belgium? Their diet, a child's diet, will have to be medically supervised, include regular blood tests and vitamin supplements. And if parents don't go along with these requirements, they risk 2 years in prison, fines, and the possibility that their children will be removed from their homes if the kids do have health issues as a result of being raised vegan. Wow. Jason, you're on 98 FM. How are you, Jason?
Morning, Adrian.
Jason, do you think it is wrong to raise a child vegan?
Yeah.
Why?
Definitely. Well, because it's not a complete diet.
Yeah, it perhaps isn't a complete
No,
diet.
definitely not. You have to take supplements for things that you cannot get without.
Okay, but then if you take your supplements, then you have your complete diet, don't you?
But that's what I'm saying. It's not a complete diet. And that's just the supplements that they know that they're missing out on. What about, God knows what's in the food that you don't actually know about, you know what I mean?
Okay, now, more and more people are, I suppose it's a lifestyle at this stage if you become vegan.
And it's a preaching thing. You like to preach to people.
Not all vegans
every
do.
One of them.
But, okay, so if you are a vegan and you become a parent, it's only natural then that you would want to bring up your children in the same way, is it not?
No, it's only natural that you'd want to bring up a healthy child.
Yeah.
And to give them what they need, not what you think they need or what you think they should have. What they actually need, what his doctor's actually telling them now. You know what I mean? It's about time someone stood up to them and said, no, you're wrong. You need to have some meat in your diet.
Okay, now, the authorities in Belgium, they're not going to make it illegal to raise a child vegan.
No, they're going to make sure it's well supervised and that the child is getting what it's needing.
Yes, and you have to go along with requirements for blood tests and so on.
It's brilliant that someone has actually finally stood up to these head cases.
You see, somebody's choice to be a vegan is somebody's choice.
Yeah, but they're not giving the child the choice. When the child's 18, he can make his own choice or her own choice.
Okay, so this Royal Academy of Medicine in Belgium has said that veganism for children is unethical.
Yeah, it's great.
You would agree with that?
It's about time somebody stood up to them. I'm delighted.
Well, okay, stay there for 1 second because, you know, we talk about this, the foods that kids eat and whether they're eating the right food and everything else. Maria, your point is that some kids are eating so much crap that that's not being monitored.
No, definitely not. Like, I'm not vegan at all myself, but people,
different topic.
There's fast food restaurants and all, and people think it's okay feeding their kids that as well. So just teach them a healthy lifestyle.
Well, no, everything is all right in moderation. I'm sure you'd agree.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
But in fact, we were having this conversation in the office earlier on. There are some kids who never see a green vegetable.
Yeah, exactly, for sure. Even my nieces or nephews, you know what I mean? Sometimes they'd find it hard eating their vegetables or anything like that, you know? Whereas us growing up, it was either you eat it or you don't get on.
Simple as that.
Yeah.
And what about the argument? And I do take the point that you're making that what about the parents who feed their kids nothing but processed rubbish? Do you believe that it is unethical to raise children on a vegan diet?
Yeah, I think feed them as healthy as you can until a certain age and let them choose them for themselves, whether they want to be vegan or vegetarian, or let them have that choice themselves.
Okay, but I mean, there's been all sorts of studies to show that processed meat and red meat can all lead to developing cancers in life. Surely that's a good thing to keep children away from that then?
Yeah, of course, absolutely. It's even if you look on the health websites and all that for hearts, they're giving out diets for red meat. You know what I mean? They're giving out meal plans, and a lot of them have red meat in it, which we know that's not good for heart disease.
Yes, exactly. So, to raise a child, and let me put this point to you, Jason, to raise a child vegan is keeping them away from processed and red meat.
We're talking about a vegan diet here, right? If you want to talk about a keto diet or the Atkins diet or whatever you want, I wouldn't advise any of them for a child either. Or we're not talking about that. We're talking about a balanced, healthy diet. Do you know what I mean? Versus a vegan diet. Not all this other rubbish.
All right, stay there for a second.
Point.
Okay, stay there for a second. 6797 981 is our telephone number. You can text or WhatsApp the programme 0877 98 98 98. The Royal Academy of Medicine in Belgium has said that raising children as vegan is unethical. Catherine, you're on 98 FM. How are you, Catherine?
I'm very good. I'm a very good, healthy vegan. Thanks very much.
Good to hear. Good to hear. You're annoyed at Jason. Why?
Jason just sounds so uninformed. There is no living human being on the planet that needs dead, rotting animal debris in their system to be alive. It is wrong on all levels to eat animals. If you're in doubt, I'd ask anybody who's listening to the show eats animals, just Google Earthlings and watch the video and see what the animals go through their whole life for a second on your tongue. The vegan diet is the optimum diet. All young doctors are now telling people, go vegan, you will avoid most of the cancers, the heart diseases, obesity, etc. I mean, people are feeding their kids absolute rubbish, McDonald's and all that kind of nonsense. There's nothing better than a vegan diet for children.
Well, now, there you go, Jason. You're uneducated, and there is nothing better than a vegan diet for children.
Okay, so I'm uneducated, says the woman there that's completely uneducated, contradicting educated doctors. You know what I mean?
In what way?
In what way? The whole country has doctors telling them that the vegan diet isn't good for kids, but she's spouting that it is.
No, unethical. They use the word unethical.
Unethical, that's what they said, yes.
Also not good. So not good because they have to monitor them to make sure they're getting everything they need. And yes, she's there.
Well, okay, Catherine, let me just quote from the...
It can't be the best diet if other people are saying we have to keep checking these kids to make sure they're getting what they need.
Okay, let me just quote, Catherine, what the Royal Academy...
Yeah, at the end.
The Royal Academy of Medicine in Belgium has issued an opinion that could see parents being sent to jail over this. Here's what they say, that while raising your child vegan won't be banned in Belgium, the diet will have to be medically supervised and include regular blood tests and vitamin supplements. And if parents don't go along with these requirements, they risk 2 years in prison or fines and the possibility that their children will be removed from their homes if the kids do have health issues.
Okay, well, the reason for that is, as we all know, the farmers are all in trouble. Our board via has an ad on RT every 3 minutes, every 3 seconds. All the farmers, the farming industry is in trouble. People are going vegan. Thousands of people daily are going vegan because they realise that it is unethical to eat, animals. Animals are not ours to abuse in any shape or form. If you eat properly...
But sorry, the Royal Academy of Medicine in Belgium is saying it is unethical to raise children as vegan.
Because the farmers, the government, the monetary system, the money they're making out of it, they're all linked, as we all know. They're all linked to pharmaceutical companies. The pharmaceutical companies want you sick. They want you to eat animals to get sick because they're a big booming industry, always have been. Now that's why these are swing towards alternative stuff, veganism. I mean, I don't get sick. All my friends are vegan and vegetarian, and they don't get sick.
And do you have to supplement your diet?
Not at all. Not in the slightest. No.
Okay, do me a favour, Catherine. Stay on the line there for 1 second if you can, please. Deep, I'll come to you straight after the break as well. Our telephone number is 6797981. You can text or WhatsApp the programme 0877 98 98 98, and we'll take more of your calls in just a moment.
98 FM's Dublin Talks
with Des Kelly Interiors. For all the latest trends in carpets, vinyls and wood flooring. Des Kelly Interiors, where quality flooring costs less.
98 FM.
And this is Adrian Kennedy with you until midday today. We're talking about parents who raise their children on a vegan diet, and the Royal Academy of Medicine in Belgium issuing an opinion that could make it possible to send parents to prison over this. The Academy has said that veganism for kids is unethical because it can lead to health problems for growing children. Here's what they're proposing, that the diet, if a parent chooses to raise their children vegan, it's not going to be illegal, but the diet will have to be medically supervised and include regular blood tests and vitamin supplements. And basically, if you are a parent who doesn't go along with that, you could face prosecution, basically. Here's somebody who's angry. Let's have a read of this message. I completely agree with that woman. Why don't you tell the kids that all the animals they love looking at and singing about are the same animals you're serving them for dinner? And then show them how the animals are treated and slaughtered. You all talk about letting the child decide later on, so in the meantime, just force feed them poor, defenceless, abused animals. Talk about uneducated. Makes me so mad. This is willful ignorance. Look it up, you moron. By the way, that person was invited to come on the programme and wouldn't join us. Here is a WhatsApp voice message.
I tried to go vegan, but unfortunately it nearly killed me. So I had to go back to eating red meat. And that was according to specialists in Beaumont. And a relative of mine also tried to go vegan, but she developed heart problems. And specialists then again told her, you have to eat red meat. So everything in moderation, and red meat in moderation does not cause cancer. So that's been proven,
Okay, let me go back to Catherine. Catherine, there's a lady who says she tried to go vegan, but it nearly killed her.
Yeah, you just have to learn how to cook properly, learn how to get all your nutrients, learn how to get your protein, have your fresh beetroot, spinach, your lentils, your barley, your beans, your crispy tofu, etc. every day. The worst thing you can eat for your heart is, a tortured, abused, what they do to the animals in the factory farming and the abattoirs. They're all gone insane. And the World Health Federation has come out and said drinking cow's milk will give you cancer, eating red meat will give you cancer. This has all been proven, it's all been said. In a bottle of milk that people give their kids, there's mastitis, cystitis, pus, blood and hair, and then they bleach it all white, take the best part out of it for the baby formula, and then they bleach the rest white, and that's what's in your milk that you drink. Why would you not drink nut milk and choose peace and not choose violence?
I could argue with you that there are plenty of meat eaters that live to a very ripe old age, thank you very much.
Yeah, but it's violence. It's why choose violence. Why, as head of the food chain, we're supposed to be the evolved species. Why are people choosing? That's why the world is swinging towards veganism. People are realising it's morally wrong, it's spiritually wrong, it's ethically wrong. What gives us the right to sentence an animal to a lifetime of abysmal torture for a second on your tongue? And people feed their kids chicken nuggets and burgers. There's anal glands, there's bowels, there's bladders, there's eyelids, there's hoofs, and they mince it all up, and people feed that to their children. And now the Belgian authorities are saying it's unethical. Oh my God, to have a vegan diet.
All right, stay there for 1 second. Deep, you're on 98 FM. How are you, Deep?
Good, Adrian. How you doing?
Good, thank you. What did you want to say on this?
No, I just want to say I'm not angry or anything like that, but I agree with the woman and the guy who was talking about the nutrition and everything. But the thing is, it's a diet. It's a lifestyle. It's not a diet, sorry. It's people who want to do it for their own health if they think that it's good. But there's so many minerals and vitamins which one you don't find in a vegan diet. I would love to actually know if you can find B3 or, I don't know, B5, K2 in some vegan diets. I would love to know that.
Catherine, I mean, the argument is that you are deficient in certain vitamins if you live a vegan lifestyle.
No, you're not. If you eat fresh, leafy, green, the likes of kale, spinach, beans, peanuts, all the nut ranges, every nut that you can pack of mixed nuts every day, that is your protein for the day. Your calcium is in 3 little pieces of raw spinach. Put it in your salad sandwich at lunchtime. Have some crispy tofu for more protein. You're not lacking in anything. Veganism is the healthiest diet. It's the
Catherine, can I say something?
Go on.
It's the vitamin K2, which one is for your bones and teeth.
Yeah.
Except celery in a very low amount. You don't find anything anywhere else.
In which?
Except celery.
Celery, yes.
And it's very low amount in celery. That means you need to have at least a half kilo of celery every 4 hours to get to that point that you need K2.
In that case, you could take a supplement if you had to, or I would say put celery into your smoothie in the morning, along with some peanut butter and some protein. But you can take a celery seed supplement.
That's exactly my point. That people need to have multivitamins and their what you call them, all the tablets with the vitamins and everything, you know.
Yeah, but I don't. I don't, and nobody I know that's vegan
No, of course,
does,
it's
not
your
everybody.
choice. But the people who in Belgium, the guys, the researchers, they came up with that because there's a reason. Because you cannot find those things in vegetables. So they had to be either vitamins or either meat. And I think people tend to choose meat more than eating tablets and capsules for the rest of their life.
Okay, so do you believe that it is unethical to raise children vegan?
It is completely.
Okay, let me go to Paul. You're a chef, and you do believe, Paul, that a child can survive on a plant-based diet?
Yeah, 100%. Like, I'm a chef. I love my meat. I love Irish meat. I don't agree with a lot that the other lady there is saying in terms of how animals are reared in this country. Yes, they are reared for slaughter, but it's been done for hundreds of years and for good reason, because we do need certain elements of it. But if someone chooses to raise their kid as a vegan, they're probably, like, I'd much prefer to see a kid reared as a vegan on a healthy, fresh food, organic based diet than see someone swinging out of a McDonald's bag every day of the week and pot noodles and processed muck. You know, that has to be better. Like, without a shadow of a doubt, I don't think there's an argument there to say, giving someone pot noodles and board-eyed chicken dippers or whatever is a better form of like for their body than.
Well, actually, okay. So you're a chef, and you're saying that it is okay, it is possible, it can be healthy. Sarah Kyo is a dietitian and nutritionist from eatwell.ie. Sarah, welcome to 98FM.
Thank you.
In Belgium, the Royal Academy of Medicine in Belgium has said it is unethical to raise children on a vegan diet. What do you make of that?
I think it's perfectly possible to raise children on a vegan diet. What I do find from working with people who do it, that people have to be really, really knowledgeable about food and nutrition. And I've seen plenty of kids whose parents who have done it and done it well. What I do find is a lot of parents who are vegan and want to raise their children vegan tend to raise them sort of vegetarian first, and the main reason would be looking at things like calcium, because that's one of the big nutrients that are missing from, or that's hard to get on a vegan diet. And it's just one of the things, I see a lot of people talking about green vegetables and calcium, but the reality is you're not going to get enough calcium from green veg. You know, a child would have to eat 16 servings of broccoli every day to get their calcium. Spinach, you're looking at huge, vast amounts of spinach to do it. And the problem with calcium in green vegetables is that it's difficult for the body to absorb it as well. So it's a little bit different. So on a vegan diet, what you're looking at is, if you look at sort of plant milk alternatives like soy milk that have calcium added, and that's a great place for people to pick it up. And then tofu will often have calcium as well. So what we do see in adults who are vegan, that they have 30% more bone fractures than people who are not vegan. But the ones who are getting their calcium, their bones are just as healthy. So it's just calcium missing. So with kids, it's really about getting the nutrition. They do need supplements. And I know this is an argument that runs forward and back and forward and back. But vitamin D is really important for children as a supplement. And vitamin B12 would be two big ones, because the B12 is particularly important for brain development, and it's just not available in plant foods. We talk a lot about it being in seaweed, but the type of B12 that you get in seaweed isn't active in the body. So although it's there in large amounts, it's not doing its job. But the thing is, most of the parents I work with who are raising children vegan are well aware, and they're perfectly happy to, you know, give their child a supplement, because like any parent, they want the best for their child. So I think it can be done. I certainly wouldn't be talking about it as being unethical, but there is a certain amount of knowledge and education that people need to have to do it really well. And I actually agree with the chef who was speaking just there. You know, we often talk about is it good or bad, and then we look at kids who are having horrendous diets in terms of junk food and things like that. And then you look at children who raised on a vegan diet tend to be less fussy eaters, they tend to be a healthier weight, they tend to have higher iron levels. So, you know, there's really good advantages to it, but we do need to be careful about what we supplement with and where children pick up certain nutrients.
Okay. Do you see a need, as they're doing in Belgium, for children who are being raised on a vegan diet to be monitored by being medically supervised?
I don't know, I mean, about going that far. What I would say is just we need to sort of check. I mean, one thing we have seen is rickets are turning up a little more often in Ireland, and one of the reasons for that are children who have just not had enough vitamin D, who have been on sort of a fully plant-based diet, maybe parents weren't aware. So I think if parents do want to raise children as vegan, absolutely can be done, but just to get really good sources of information. There's an awful lot of nonsense online. So sometimes maybe seeing a CORE registered dietitian just to really make sure that you're okay. But I find a lot of parents who would come to me are very well educated about it. I think if
before they even take it on.
Yeah, well, they're usually doing it themselves, so they're well aware. People I've worked with for years, they're happily taking their supplements. They recognise where they're needed, or they're looking for foods that are fortified with B12. So it's important to do it, but it's just getting good information, making sure that it's accurate.
Okay, but in answer, it is possible. All right, Sarah Keogh, dietitian and nutritionist from eatwell.ie. Thank you very much indeed for talking to us, and that is it. We're way over time for today. We're back again tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. Andy Clark is on the way, and in the next hour, some great music lined up like these.
Where is your just wanna go home, 98 FM's Dublin Talks
with Des Kelly Interiors. For all the latest trends in carpets, vinyls and wood flooring. Des Kelly Interiors, where quality flooring costs less.
98 FM.